Hi guys, and welcome to the Art of Selling Scentsy. It's our final week and we've got a bit of a surprise up our sleeve. We've got the lovely Sara Sawyer on as a guest. So the reason I've got Sara on is, as if you can remember, week one, we talked all about your audience, about keeping them engaged, re-engaging them, and trying to obviously grow your audience. I've watched Sara for, I don't know, well over a year now. I've been watching Sara, and it's really, since really putting together the fundamentals of building your business online, it's really become apparent to me how skilled Sara is at keeping her customers engaged. So what I mean by that is her customers are consistently interacting, looking at what she's doing, and the biggest thing, they just make repeat purchases constantly. So that's the dream, right? We all want our customers to just keep buying and buying. That's the absolute dream. And I've watched Sara, and the other week I asked her if she would mind if we gave her a little interview, and she agreed to it. So here we are. We're going to just grill her with a few questions and basically try and sort of drill into how she does it, why she does it, and how it came about. So welcome, Sara.
No pressure at all.
There's none. Zero.
No, none. Just what you do. Obviously it's completely, I don't even think you were really aware that you were intentionally doing it, and you were that you were so skilled at what you're doing. I think it's come very naturally, hasn't it?
I think so. I think there's something in that, isn't there? Not being aware of what you're doing to the fullest extent and putting pressure on yourself and just trying to enjoy what you do. I think I probably didn't realize I was doing this, but I think I've made it into a bit of a game, and I think that's what's worked for me. It's like finding things that really engage my customers, things that make them tick. I think knowing your customers and really understanding, the kind of things that makes them like pulse a reaction, and not being frightened to try things, because I think I have had my times in the past where I've tried something, it's been a flop. And it's been something I've been really excited about trying. I remember a mystery box. I love my mystery boxes, and I love my themes, and getting a bit arty and clever with things. And I see it, I can't claim fame to it. It was a really good idea about this murder mystery box, and I loved the idea of it. So I sat and spent ages planning it out, and then literally got zero reaction. And I was gutted because I was itching to make this box up. And it took us a while afterwards. That was like a turning point, because I realised, you know what? You can't just post an idea once. You can't just post an idea in one way. It's about being really creative to reach out to different types of customers at different times. And I think that was when the penny dropped, that I can't be disheartened when something doesn't work, because actually it's not the idea that's not necessarily working. It's maybe the way I've presented it or the time that I've presented it. So it made us realise it's a bit of a game with these Facebook algorithms and getting to know your customers and really understanding the kind of things that provoke a reaction, and being creative with it. So if something doesn't work once, and I think actually at the moment the Christmas waxes in the clearance section are a great example of that. And I've posted them a couple of times and they haven't sold, but then I did it a bit differently this weekend and I've sold 8. Why didn't those customers buy first time round? What made them buy this time round? Now it could be timing, because I think people are kicking up a gear into Christmas mode, but it could also be the way I've worded it and the way I've tried to sell those products. So I think for me, it's just been a real revelation this last kind of 10 to 12 months, is turning it into a bit of a game and having fun with trying different things and not taking it so seriously. And I think that's worked really well for me.
So as well as obviously using your group, do you build a relationship with your customers separately? Does that say you're intentional with that? You've got friendships with them, etc.?
Not all of my customers, but I do find myself, and again, I don't think it's something I go out of my way to do. It just comes naturally. It's like when I meet somebody new, I try and find something we've got in common. And it doesn't matter whether it's like, I don't know, a love of a particular TV program or a particular scent, just being in the same kind of scent categories, but finding something that I've got in common with them and using that is like a leading, because I'm not the most confident of person to start conversations. I'm not, your traditional like like social butterfly, or I don't know, like natural networker. I do have to network for work physically, you know, go to networking events, and even them I feel quite socially awkward sometimes. But I think once I find something I've got in common with somebody, it then comes a bit more natural. So now I found with new customers, and I must be doing something well, because a lot of my customers now are friends, and I don't actually realize I didn't know them before Scentsy. So I think whatever I'm doing to go out of my way to get to know them and develop that friendship feels really, really natural. It's not part of my job, but actually it leads to us selling a lot of products as well.
Yeah, it's more than just a sale.
It is more than just a sale, like it really is. And I think, you know, I get a lot of pleasure as well from making somebody else smile. So whether that's, you know, I use my credits to top up on things like free bulbs and, I don't know, scent circles, little cost-effective gifts that customers see a lot of value in. And I think just being able to put a smile on somebody's face, and sometimes it's not even something to the expense of that. It can be just a personal message on a label, or, you know, I've become really clever with using my little Wi-Fi printer. I mean, all things I didn't do before, I didn't know I could do. And probably if you'd asked us at the beginning, I'd be like, no, I can't do that. Yeah, like someone will have to help us with that. But I think it's like been a revelation of continually pushing myself outside of my comfort zone to learn new things. I would never have been able to do this 18 months ago, 2 years. And I think that my customers see the value in the effort that goes on behind the scenes. And I think that's what makes them like invest in my business.
You've got a job, a day job as well, haven't you? You've got 2 kids, so you've got your family life, and then you've got Scentsy. You have continuous high PRV. But what I would say is I see you work really hard for that PRV. It doesn't just get handed to you. I see how hard you work, and I see you you make a lot of bundles up, don't you? That's one of the things that I see, where I feel just by watching you, a lot of your PRV comes from you. But what percentage would you say it is? Would you say like,
well more than half.
Tell us about stockings, because they were I was trying to tell Lisa about those. They were a great idea. Tell us about your stockings.
Well, so I'm always really careful about sharing my ideas, not because I share everything if I can, but I don't want people to feel like under pressure to do what I'm doing just because it works for me. And I think for my customers to invest in anything mystery, it took a long time to build that up. So I know my team a lot of them have tried it and haven't had much success, because you've got to get your customers excited about the product and really loving the product before you.
And they've got to trust that you're going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trust in that. But now I'm at the point, I think probably this time last year was when it really kicked up a gear in terms of customers putting more trust in us to either buy mystery bags or to do gifting, which is what I'm big on. I think that's probably one of my USPs, is the gifting side of things. And I do have to be careful because not everybody's got the time to invest in that. Now I do work full time. I've got a really, really high paid, responsible job, very stressful. And a lot of people will say to me, well, I don't have the time to do what you do. But my Scentsy's my mindfulness. I've got a teamie who made me realise that. I find a lot of comfort in what I do with Scentsy. So I'm not the best of sleepers, and I might be up through the night. So I'll have an hour, you know, making some flyers or putting some ideas together about what my next gift box will be or something like that. But I did the stockings last year on a whim, because I had quite a bit of bits and pieces of stock left over from events and fairs in the run up to Christmas. But my customers went nuts for them. And I thought, it's a bit early September to be doing stockings. We're still just kicking it up a gear for kind of Halloween and fall. So I was in 2 minds whether to post them. But last year I had a job getting really nice stockings to put them into. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go in for a penny and for a pound and try and sell 10 of these stockings. So I used the clearance as well, because I kind of thought, why wouldn't you? There's such amazing products in that clearance. And I could really stuff a stocking full with all of the lovely goodies that are in there. So I decided to advertise it a couple of weeks ago, and I thought if I can sell 10, it would be a good PRV boost. But then I took it and I like coming up with different ideas. So I'm not just going to post, here's some stockings, would you like to buy them? Because I probably wouldn't sell 10. So I do use my broadcast really, really effectively. That was another revelation. And I think because you can communicate information one-to-one through that, so you can really balance compliance with how you sell. that's been like a super like selling tool for me. I love my broadcast group. So I decided to use, I trialed it a little while ago and it worked really well, something called a price drop group. So I set up a price drop group, and this was where my customers, I would give them a product that I was going to put on a price drop. So I did it in, I think, June for the first time, and I used the fragrance flowers, and I decided to do it for the second time with my stockings. Worked out what I could put in, and if I sold how many, you do have to do a bit of calculation. It's not just kind of finger in the air. Worked out if I sold how many, how I could close a party and use those credits to buy more products to keep the cost down. So I thought I can buy 35, 36 pounds worth of products. And if I was selling this on my page, that's how much it would be to put in my stock in. But if I sold, I think I worked it out with 12, then I could probably get it down to around 29, 28 pound by sharing the credits.
Yeah.
The products across the stockings. And so rather than just putting that on the page, I used my price drop group. And so my customers in this know if I say that something's going to be £35, they can deal at any time. They can say, I want one, they can confirm they would like to buy one at any time. But they'll only pay the price that it ends at, a bit like QVC or, one of these shopping channels. And they really love it because it doesn't make buying a bit more exciting and a bit more interesting. So like I put them on sale at 35, and I said, you'll only pay whatever it locks in at, and just make sure, it relies on us selling so many to work. So, don't be shy. I think I sold like 18 within, it had only price dropped to £33 and I sold 18 already. So I knew like with my party calculations, it was going to work out great. So anyway, I've ended up selling, I'm sure I've sold 33 in total, which I'm probably going to ruin the day because I've got all of the products to wrap to put inside of them. But do you know what? That's a heck of a PRV boost. And I think, I remember originally saying, if I can get 300 PRV a month, that's going to get us some free wax. And that's how I started. And then I realized quickly I could get 1,000 PRV a month. So then you make that your goal and break it down into little manageable chunks. Well, I thought this month might be a bit quiet, so I did the stockings right at the beginning. I thought if I can get myself off to a really good PRV boost, a few hundred PRV, that's a good start. But obviously, my customers have just gone absolutely crazy for them, and it's a lot of PRV that when I've bought all of the stuff. So it's just
wow.
Well,
I saw your marketing attempting. I'm sure I saw a picture you'd put on, and it was really. I'm going to try and find it now. It was really good.
Can I ask a question? So with your stockings, do you decide, I know that the cheapest price I'm going to go down to is like, I don't know, 32 quid, for example, and you start them off at like 38, and it's like they're getting a bidding war, basically.
That's exactly what it is, Lisa. I didn't limit the quantity this time, but I did say that I have to sell 12 to make this viable, and obviously I sold those quite quickly. But my customers know the more I sell, I drip feed the message through my Facebook, through talking to them.
Yeah.
Works and how credits work. I do it because I want them to try and book a party, but I've been really open. It's one thing I've never been good at is booking parties. So then I try and make sure my customers see the value, and the more they spend, the more they get rewarded, even though they're not a party.
Even though they're not, yeah.
Exactly. So they know that if they buy these, they're all about each other a bit, and they don't know each other. They've made some lovely friendships among my customers as well.
I love that.
Oh, that's what it's
Do you as well? You have them in an actual group so that's the price drop. They all know they're all the potential price, or is it just your broadcast? You're letting them know this is a price drop product type thing. I love that.
I communicate information to them, but I don't use it to sell. This has been something I've been really careful with from the start to make sure that I'm compliant in how I sell. And I feel like it could be classed as pay to play. And because that they're paying 35, well, they think they're effectively paying whatever it is to play, but they don't know where that price is going to end. So I do the actual price drop itself in my broadcast group. So it's a one-to-one communication. I can bounce off customers individually, but I do have like a group where I communicate information to them to let them know that it's going to be happening, or to tell them about offers and clearance. I use clearance all of the time.
I love that, because I bet as that price drops, you're getting the excitement of the customer that's already locked in and said, oh, I'm going to have one. And then, oh my God, this is brilliant. I'm getting a bargain. And I love that you're probably getting that building relationship. It's not just a one transaction, like, yes, thank you very much, take your money. It's you've got so many more like connection points going on there. I love that.
You have,
I love that. Really love that.
Just thinking about things like this was the secret sale, because my customers like a secret sale, and when I put on something like there's only 6 available, they fight each other over it, so they're straight in. You've used them WhatsApp as well, you know, I'm really careful because these are my friends as well, but the beauty of using WhatsApp is if I say there's 6 flowers available but 12 of them want them, I'll make it work, because I know that I'm selling enough to put them through as a party and use the credits. So things like secret sales, price drops, like a bit of mystery and a bit of fun while they're buying what they need for themselves and for others just goes a long way, and it really makes for good PRV.
So
I've got some directors and team, by the way, that are going to go wild on this. I'm just letting you know now.
She is really. But so as far as like current customers and rebuying, do you find, because of the way you run your business, because you do so many beautiful bundles, and I've just looked at your group, it's very personal, it's not salesy at all, you've absolutely nailed the authenticity part of it with your customers. Do you find that near enough all your customers come back for more?
Pretty much. I mean, I did an exercise a while ago. It was off the back of somebody's live saying, you know, about going back through your customers. I'm the first to admit I'm not brilliant at following up because I'm so busy. So it tends to be a little bit more ad hoc than system led. But I did an exercise where I went back through all of my old order books and looked at every single customer that's ever bought off us, made a list and decided to contact them each over a space of a few weeks, one by one, just to touch base and find something in common again. And I realized, like, with the exception of customers I've lost because somebody signed up under us as a teamie and then taken a small set of my customers, which happens, and that's fine, you know, like it's never really impacted my business. And I think I've always been a bit worried about it happening, but it never seems to. Every single person I've ever engaged with always comes back for more, whether it's like to stock up regularly or sometimes it's periodically. Like I tend to find I've got a handful of customers who just do their Christmas shopping with us, and then I hear nothing the rest of the year from them, and then they come back and do their Christmas shopping again next year. But everyone at some point comes back, and I think there's something that isn't there.
And do you know what the beauty of, sorry, I just interrupted you then, but it just got me really thinking, you know what the beauty of what you do? Yeah, like the beauty of what you do gift bundles regularly, therefore your customers are buying to gift it to somebody, and then you've got a brand new customer.
Exactly. And this is like something quite new, because I've always, like, even when I'm wrapping somebody's order, if I know it's for them, I try and make it into a hamper or a gift, and I'm like a stalk B&M for their clearance. So, you know, you can like stock up on some really funky little baskets and little things to hold stuff in. I get all sorts of suitcases off the works. Please don't make me sell out because I buy them all the time. But the suitcases off the works are amazing. I've got like my cupboard next to us is full of them.
What, the little ones that are little? The little ones?
Oh, they? One's big, I get, you know, I put an alabaster in or like a full-size warmer in regularly in the big one, but the smaller ones are great for little wax bundles or car scent bundles and anything really. I love them. And I love doing the hampers, but what I realized recently, I was missing a trick by not branding them. So now I've got little stickers on hand that I've got all QR code to my link tree. I've even just realized I can personalize my link tree. You know, I didn't know that, and it's just when you really care about something. So I've realized if I really brand the hampers that I'm doing, I make a little tag that goes in. It's just little. I took it down the side of the hampers, and it just says pass me on for a referral. Tam knows I've never been great with referrals. I haven't got a system in place, but now I've got a little gift tag that says, you know, if you refer, just get them to mention your name and you'll be rewarded. And I've got little stickers now that thank someone as someone that refers. And like, it's just having little wins in place to say thank you and make sure that your brand is all over everything. There's no mistake in my brand because everything's pink. And I think like people realize that it's Sarah sent with love, and it doesn't matter how many consultants are on the doorstep, you can recognize my brand. And I think that it's really important to have that brand.
Well, your pink baskets, I know that was off the back of the live that I did, for example, have gone wild. And I know so many people that are like, have used almost like your exact look of what your basket looked like there, and you know, they've gone wild with it. So it just goes to show, like, you know, you've got some cracking ideas. Like
you do just take an idea and run with it. Absolutely run with it. And
I love the fact as well you put your own stamp on things, because I think there's a lot of people that will like to carbon copy things, But I think the way you turn it into something exactly that's your brand, that's where your customers are coming back every single time. And I just, I want to live in Sarah's head, please.
I know. Honestly, I don't. You can tell it's a good thing though. You don't realise how good it is what you do. But as an observer, I think we can appreciate you've got a real skill. You've got a real skill for keeping your customers engaged, because I've just sat while we've been chatting, looking at your group, and you get so many comments. I've noticed that you show pictures of your orders when they're all ready, and even you can tell those orders have got beautiful pink bows on them.
Love.
Yeah, you get people excited, and I'll tell you what that does. If somebody's not made an order, they're like, oh my gosh, I want an order from Sarah. I want a beautiful bag with a big pink bow on it. It makes them want it as well. Do you have like a sample system or anything like that?
Well, I don't have systems like
You're preaching to the choir, my love, for a really long time. It's only recent. Only this year. You're in good company.
Well, I've got my box here, the big one that everyone seemed to buy at once from Home Bargains with all the compartments in, and it's always full. So I've got things like my go-to samples. I always worry that people have like some kind of stockpile of samples that they don't use, but I do chat to customers, and they really value having those samples to have a bit try and a bit pop in their warmers. And what I find is my samples end up in other people's hands, so my customers don't seem to end up using them, but they end up somewhere else. So the same goes, it's just making sure that your QR code's all over them, your business card, your brand, because you never know who's going to be looking for something. So I do sample an awful lot, but I sample with intent. I try and group that. I don't just throw a load of samples in. I used to just pop samples in with everything. Now I don't even put them in my orders like routinely. I'll group them. So I've got some at the minute that are called Snuggle Up Cotton something or other. It's just a little trio. I've just picked 3 core samples to staple together and pop them in. And I think rather than putting samples in every order, putting a really intentional sample in every 2 or 3 orders, every 3rd order or something, has a bit more impact.
Especially if you've got a lot of returning customers. I think it's hard to find a system when you've got a lot of returning customers as well.
It is really hard, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's where my mystery bags come in, because they're already bought into my business. So samples are a nice little treat or a little extra, but they love having mystery bags because that's their way of trying something new. And so that I do really well off little treat bags and mystery bags, and my like long-term customers buy into like a monthly glam club or sample club. So this was one of my goals a long time ago, is just to be active on the 1st of the month. And I don't think there's been a month where I'm not active on the 1st of the month for well over a year. And it's because I've just built up little clubs, and they don't have to be anything too clever, but it's just about them getting excited for their orders coming. So my customers get excited when the 1st of the month comes, because they know that payments come out by standing order. It all drops in my bank. I go straight on at 8 o'clock in the morning, order on the 1st of the month. I'm active, so I'm over the moon. And then they get something maybe 10 days later, which is always really themed. I've got I've got one down here actually, if I can grab it, like little treats. So this month's like little theme. It's just a little simple hamper, but it's gone autumn themed, so it's got 4 lovely, and that the clearance waxes, 3 of them. But just a few leaves and a few acorns, and they go nuts for it, So
do you have that set up? So it's like you called it your glam club. I love that. I'm like, come on, tell me more. I just need to know how all these things work. So you have that set up. I do like a VIP wax club, but I'm wondering something like that would probably work better, where that's you have that at the end of the month. You're letting them know what the theme is. How does that work?
I've got 2 for a really good reason, and because collectively they go through as one order, and it normally means that it's about £300 or £400. So it's a party order, which is why they get a bit more than what they pay. The Glam Club is not my idea. I don't know who I took it off, but thank you to that person, because it's been a revelation. And that's basically, there's 12 slots. Every person that buys into a slot, I do it for £18, which I always sell my waxes for £6 a bar, always, because I can do that. I sell enough of them to bundle all of the time. So they pick 3 waxes of their own choosing on the last couple of days of the month. Standing order drops into my bank for £18 on the 1st, and I just order those waxes. But 1 month in 12, and it's a designated month, they sign a little nominal contract with us at the beginning to say that they'll commit for a year. And 1 month in 12, they get £24 credit to spend and a half price credit. And I normally take it where I can, their birthday month, so it feels like a real treat, and they love it. I mean, I did get the idea of another consultant, but it's been great for me. So I think I've got like 8 or 9 of the signals. So that's my glam club. My subscription club, so I used to run a wax club, but I found I got bored of doing just waxes, and I thought I'm missing a trick here, because if I can make it more than just waxes, I'll find people who become addicted to laundry or addicted to scent, whatever, like body products. So now I do it as a sub club. It's £18 a month as well, so they can decide between the two. And the pay by stand order the first of the month. And every month I do a different theme. So this month was autumn, obviously, and it was waxes. But like I've done all sorts. I've done laundry ones. I sometimes just do a colour theme. So I think I did like a blinding pink one, and it was all the bright pink products. I've done a beautiful like sea themed one. I'm lucky I live next to the sea. I've been and picked gorgeous shells for it, put sand in, the whole shebang. It was lovely. But it's just like I get a lot of pleasure from doing that. And it's just so lovely when my customers are excited to come and get their orders, and they can't wait to see what's in their little goodie box. And
I love that.
It's really good. So between the two, I think I've got like 19 customers. And that again, that's
and
a
that's
big
a lot when they're ordering at £18 a go. You know, it's a lot of PRV, isn't it? It's a great like first of the month order.
With the whiff boxes as well. I always have a few regulars coming back for those. It just makes for, you know, there's something in starting the month with your wheel like already in motion on your dashboard that moves you for the rest of the month. And I've just had this conversation with one of my teamies recently who orders right on the last day, and I'm trying to get her to change it so she orders on the first day, because I think you're for the month ahead and gives you motivation to want more.
Makes you want to work like as soon as you see that. And I love that for like your customers. I just think what a great, I'm literally going to be implementing all of these things. My customers are going to not know what's hit them. I love this. I think it's inspiring me so much.
I think that, do you know what I think you do? I think you make shopping easy, because we've got so much to choose from. You just make shopping really easy for them.
You're doing it for them, you're choosing for them. And I love the standing order. Why I've never thought about getting people set up, especially VIP boxes, because I've got people that buy the same VIP boxes every single month, and I've never thought of saying, why don't you just put it on standing order?
It's just so much easier. And like I'm quite competitive, so I want to be on that at 8 o'clock on the first. I'm going to be a nightmare on Saturday on our retreat. I want to be on at 8 o'clock in the morning to get my order in, because I just like to be. So I think there's definitely, and I tell you something else that I found through my hampers and my gifts. You build up trust in customers that are a little bit further afield. So now I have customers down south or wherever, and what they do is so I've got one lady in Bristol who's doing her Christmas shopping with us. She's paying us when she sees something and I'm ordering it, but not like my customers on the doorstep where they'll get their orders within the week. I've got a pile of stuff in a box upstairs for her that's building up, and I'll just ship the whole lot together. So it's spreading the cost for her. She trusts me to know, and I send her photos so she knows. But like by the time she gets that order, and she pays us a little bit of shipping every time, you know, towards it, and she's going to have like a Christmas sewn up in one delivery, and I get the PRV spread out over 3 or 4 months.
And I suppose she's going to get, are you giving her the credit attached to the party as well? Have you done it that way? That's amazing. I love that.
That's
Hampers, and you know, and it's nice because she can still, even though she's down there, she can still benefit from my gift wrapping or from my hampers and my little bits and my quirky bits and pieces. She's ordered like one of my little mystery bags I put on last weekend for herself. She'll get exactly what my customers on the doorstep get, even though she's not here.
No, she's not local.
I think there's one thing people are watching that you've got to bear in mind, is that you work really hard. Like you graft. You've put a lot of time into your business. This has not just been handed to you. You've built this up and worked hard, and not, like you say, tried things that have not worked. And I've seen your presentation. Your presentation is beautiful. Absolutely. You make me want to buy like your Halloween stuff with the lights in. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. But you've obviously watched other people and just taken it all and made your own stamp on it. But I think that people need to understand that it's not just they can't just offer a bag and they've got 18 people signed up. They've got to put the work in and start to be known for what it is you're known for, if that makes sense. It's like it's staying ahead of your customers' thoughts, you know. And so the wax club's a really good example of that. You know, I had a really full wax club of just the £6 a month, well, £7 a month, I think, and it was just for the wax of the month.
And it was I feel like it was a brave decision to tell my customers I'm discontinuing that, even though I've built it up to 16 or 17 people, because I think your customers, you don't want them to get bored of what you're doing as well. So yes, I took it from £6 or £7 to £18, and I lost a few customers who bought regularly that and just said they would order every month off us, and that's fine. But what I did was gained a whole new customer set who see the value in what I'm doing at £18. And I think it's just like this continuous improvement cycle that you have to go through to make sure that you're evaluating what you're doing and giving your customers and keeping them on their toes as much as you're keeping yourself on your toes.
So I think the biggest question is, Sarah, how do you do your cellophane? Because I can't. Literally cannot use cellophane at all, and yours are all so beautiful.
I think I asked you this when you did your boxes, and I asked you the same question, I'm sure, when I inboxed you. I was like, how did you do this? And someone messaged me yesterday and said, actually, cellophane.
Oh,
such a good question.
When I do it, it looks like I don't even know what it looks like. It looks like
them baskets you suggested, you'd said to me to only half wrap them and sellotape them. That's what I did. It was so like wrap them like a present.
That's all I do, is wrap them like a present. But it's sort of cellophane's a nightmare. And I must admit, again, part of reevaluation, I've had some customers who really are big on plastic and single use, so it's being creative to find different ways. So I don't always use cellophane now. I try to, and actually, do you know, the bows look just as beautiful draped over the products without the plastic. So I think sometimes like things like that can put consultants off trying, I'm no good with cellophane, or it's quite expensive, or there's always a way of making your products look pretty, and it doesn't have to be something really too fancy, just a simple bow. Those tiny little pull bows that were on that autumn hamper, you get like 1 billion for 20p off, I exaggerate obviously, off Amazon, but like they just seem to last forever. And it's just such a simple little touch, but it goes a long way. I print people's names off, you know, instead of just clagging a gift label onto a bag. So if you're just bagging an order up, I just print, if they're a regular customer, so I've got a whole sheet of Tracy's and I just cut a Tracy out and put that on instead of it. And honestly, just the personal touch, it takes me seconds and it just goes a long way. And
when
I think
they get it, they'll be like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I could imagine if I got something and it said Tam and a gift tag on it, I'd be like, oh wow, it would make you feel really special.
Are you really organised, Sarah? That's something I feel like you're a really organised person, and I'm like far from organised. Like I've got my paperwork's everywhere. I feel like you're quite organised. Are you?
I'd love to say I am, and I think I am to a certain extent, but it's more organised chaos, because my life is chaos. I mean, literally. So I do try and be organised, and I think sometimes there's something in that power hour, because it really focuses your mind, and I can really blitz a lot in an hour and get my stuff together so that I'm ready for any orders that are on the way. So I know I've sold mystery bags that are coming this week and I've got nothing to go in them, but I know I've got some time put aside in a lunch hour later on in the week where I'll go and get what I need. I've got my list ready, I've got my labels printed off. Like, I think there's something in using that time effectively to make sure that you've got all of your ducks in a row, and then it becomes manageable.
Yeah. I love hearing that, because I think there's a lot of people right now that are saying, well, I just haven't got the time. And hearing you say all these things, and actually you've got a job and you're busy, and children and all the rest of it.
And how old are your kids?
5 and 10, and my husband's technically a kid as well.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. I think power hours, I'm very much like, I see a lot of people wasting a lot of time. Like if people are scrolling on the phone, that really is just wasted time, isn't it? If you could just sit and like remove all distractions, set a timer. I know I go on about it, but set a timer for an hour. It's amazing when you're racing against the clock. It's like, you know, like if someone said, oh, I'm going to be there in 15 minutes at your house, you could literally blitz your house from top to bottom in 15 minutes, couldn't you? Like what we can get done when we're racing against the clock is unbelievable. But it's when we've got time to spare. If you think, oh, I've got the whole evening to do that, you'll just procrastinate, won't you?
Yeah, it is definitely time management. And I think, like, my son plays football and I would rather stick pins in my eyes than stand at the side of a pitch and be that parent. But I can have an hour in the car where I can do a live, I can do all of my flyers, I can schedule at least 3 or 4 days worth of posts. It's like, to me, that's like money is in that hour. Like, money is, time is money, and that's what they're saying. I can invest in that hour and it really pays back through my business. And I was going to say, I do remember the first time I ever hit 2,000 PRV in a month. I have never felt so overwhelmed in my life. And I think if ever there's something to shock you into being organised, it's having product like big orders landing and realising just how overwhelming it can be. So yeah, sometimes it's a bit of a shock to the system.
How do you place your orders then? Because you sell, I see you offer a lot of things throughout the month. Do you, right, that's all of my stockings, for example, I'll place those in one order. That's all of my bags I'll place, or do you bundle them together?
No, I bundle them together. When I started my business, I had set ordering days, and I do think that's really good practice. Like I try and instill that in my team, to have like set ordering days so your customers know when your next order is as well. And I think I've gone out of the habit too much, and it definitely stems from things flying out of stock during like hyper growth, and I've struggled to break that. So like I've got a new rule now that if I hit £150 off of orders, I'll just place the order. But I think you can be really, really effective with your delivery costs and your time if you really, plan your month ahead and understand like when your customers are likely to spend. I have a lot of NHS customers who must get paid around the 15th, so I know I'm going to be able to pull an order together around their payday. So I think it's just really planning ahead and trying to make the most of those credits. So with stockings, what I'm doing is I've agreed with certain people that they'll pay a little bit later. So again, an NHS worker who gets paid, I've got one lady who gets a bonus mid-October. So what I've been doing is I've taken a deposit. Whether that's a compliant or not, please check, but I've taken a deposit because I wanted to buy the stockings up front. And then what I've been doing is every time I've been placing an order, ordering 38 of something out of the clearance, like 38 car bars, I've got 38 body mists upstairs. Like I've been ordering them as I've been going, but not in one big bulk order.
Good. I've never thought about doing things like that. I always wait and then I order everything and then normally forget. Normally I'll order 37 of something.
Yes, same. Or 20.
I'm like, oh my god, I've got to find an extra fragrance.
Bring in everybody. Oh dear, no, that's amazing. That what would you say to somebody then who wants to make bundles a part of their business, but every time they've put something out there, they've not got a lot back, so they're thinking, oh well, nobody buys from me when I offer bundles. What would your advice be to somebody? I should have prepped you for this one.
Honestly, that's the first thing. Like the first thing I would say do is make a bundle up. Don't use other people's versions with other people's personalities in. Are you really going to waste money by spending maybe £15 or £20 on buying the products that somebody will likely buy anyway? This is not buying stock to sell. This is buying an example of what you're going to make. So
it's part of your kit, isn't it? So
even with the stockings, as soon as I knew there was an appetite, I ordered the 3-pack that I've been using from Amazon, and then literally the first thing I did was put a selfie on with the stockings, and then I sold more. It's like being really like forward focused about what customers might want and not being frightened to make like an example of what you could be offering. Obviously you've got to be careful for adding little extras in, but I think customers are more likely to buy if they can see your personality in it. So it's taking other people's ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody's creative enough to think up an idea, but there's some fantastic ideas from some really creative consultants. Take their idea and put your own personality into it, and then make an example and use that to sell. Don't expect to pop a post on and everyone jump all over it, because it just doesn't work like that. You don't go into Asda and look at an empty shelf and place an order based on the empty shelf. You buy it because it's in front of you. So it's
very true.
It's like using people's appetite to buy to your advantage. So
when you think of like when I'm scrolling and like doing online shopping, if I saw a picture that just was like a white background and just the words surprise bag £15 or whatever, that wouldn't tempt me. But if I saw a picture of like a beautiful bag all made up, like that's the bit that tempts people, isn't it? Like the visual of that in the background as well. So there's a lot to be said within your marketing. I notice a lot of your marketing is your own pictures, or as close to.
It is, and like I think every one of my customers must think I own every single warmer in the catalogue, and the honest answer is I don't. I mean, I do have a nice little display upstairs. I have warmers dotted all over, but I don't own every one. What I do is when a customer orders it, I make a point of taking a selfie with it. I mean, what's wrong with that? Do you know? And people are more likely to buy off you than they are off like a blank canvas or off a, you know, a generic photo. So I think there's something in that, being mindful when orders come, take that as an opportunity and take some nice photos of your own, because that's really organic. I'm no photographer. I use a lot of your photos, but then I try, you know, I don't like having I'm not a one for selfies. I don't wear makeup.
I always put your branding on them now. Always. I've noticed that.
And I think just having your face, or the kids, you know, I'm shameless. My children are regularly posing for selfies. And I think, well, why not? It's taking the opportunity. If you happen to go somewhere, you know, we've got that beautiful collection that in days, it's only got a few days left of it. If you happen to be walking the dog down the beach, take a couple of bars and pop a picture on. Like, that's what sells the product. People buy into you as much as they buy into the brand.
But they buy into you first, don't they? Because they could get Scentsy from anyone, really, couldn't they?
Exactly.
What's going to make them get it from you? Yeah.
I love that you said about taking the customer warmers out and having a picture with them. I don't do that. Do you know why? Because I can never get them back in the
I know, it's like Tetris, isn't it? It is, it's like Tetris.
When you said that, I was like, no, I couldn't do that. I honestly couldn't.
And can you imagine giving them it with like the lid just sellotape down? Because you can't do it. I'm really sorry.
I can never get them back in the box.
You should video yourself. You should video yourself giving them, and then just
get too excited, like getting it all out. Like, I've sold somebody my my full pumpkin warmer, and I've actually texted her and said, I haven't used this, by the way, but it's not back in the box properly, so it's a bit higgledy, but it's brand new. Oh. She was like, don't worry, Lisa, it's fine.
Well, but it's a big risky run, but I have got a little tip to that, because I've done that several times. So those Christmas trees are god awful again.
Work.
You know, I had that one out for a live, and I do actually own that Christmas tree, but it's away with my my decorations. I had that out for a live on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it was, and it will not go back in. So all I've done is put the stuffing back in the box, stood the Christmas tree up, done it in cellophane. She was absolutely delighted with our gift.
I love that.
Back in the box.
Keep thinking, well, you know my pain. Honestly, I'm terrible. I'm like, oh, it's out of the box now. That's it.
Yeah, you can't do it, can you?
Terrible.
Oh, Sarah, that's so really your top tips are, well, work hard.
So many.
Work hard. Be creative, and if you haven't got creativity in you, draw creation from others. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Try and think about what your customers actually like and use that to your advantage. There's really something in.
Yeah.
And then my biggest top tip, which really isn't relation, you know, it's not in relation to being creative, but I think we talk a lot about looking at your network. You know, we talk about the 100 list. We talk about, my top tip is to draw out your network, because that's been the biggest revelation to me. So I thought about one of my good customers owns a caravan. So I drew literally a map of all of her network. So now I'm the consultant for that caravan park. I've got a display on the caravan park. I do all of their fairs. I do monthly deliveries to customers who come from all over the Northeast to go to their caravan. It's like open doors. I've got another customer who's our daughter's a big in dance. I drew out the network, and now I've got a lot of customers from that dance group. I think we really like rely on one network, but there comes a point in time in your business where you've exhausted your network. Use your network to your advantage, and that's been one of the biggest, like the best ways I've expanded my customer base. It's worked really well for me.
So when you do that, do you contact your customer and say, look, I'm trying to expand?
I contact the customer, or sometimes I go past the customer and contact what I'm, you know, the caravan park. I went straight there, and they're a group of 5 caravan parks. They've all got Scentsy warmers in the reception and in their clubhouse with my my business cards. And you know, I do get some teamies who'll say, well, how can you afford to put all those warmers in? It's like I close a lot of parties. Every party you close, use your credits to buy something and make sure it goes somewhere else. And I think that's the best way to see. And all I do is once every maybe 6 or 7 months, I go around and swap the warmers from one to another. So they've always got a different warmer on display. And I think it's just been like chatting to people and understanding where opportunities lie. If somebody says, you know, I've got people who post their kids doing something, like I'll use a dancer as an example. So I just dropped her a message and asked which dance school she attends. And I said, you know, if they've ever got a raffle, I would donate a little prize, something Scentsy. Or I think a bit of generosity using your credits goes a long way. And so now, you know, a lot of customers come to me from that dance school. And then you've got a whole new network to analyse over the next few months and get to know. I think unless you're continually looking for new customers, because my intention is I will lose some of my customers. I intend on losing some of my customers because I want them to become consultants of their own.
Yeah.
And so it leads to my recruitment being really good. You know, I recruit a lot of my customers into the role of a consultant.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also, I think obviously a lot of people are scared to reach out to people, but if you don't reach out, the answer's always no, isn't it?
It is, and like I'm not comfortable being like that salesperson, but I don't feel like I'm reaching out to sell. I feel like I'm reaching out because we both have a shared love of Scentsy. And you know, if I can reward them with something as a thank you as well, then we're both gaining something.
That's it, yeah.
Referrals come really well now because people feel valued when they refer through my business.
Oh, so you've just nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. And I don't want anyone to watch this and think, okay, I'm just going to offer bundles. It's not. It's just simply not that easy. It's a lot of graft and a lot of relationship building, a lot of a time invested, and a lot of like you're really committed, aren't you? Clearly, very, very dedicated to your business. You don't just give up when something doesn't work.
No, I really see the opportunity. I didn't when I joined. I just joined for some free wax, and I don't make any kind of like I don't hide that. I just think if you can see an opportunity and you're willing to put the time in, albeit if you're structured with your time, you know, like know when to switch off. Like there's so much can be gained from this business. And I don't just mean financially. I mean, it's lovely to have a good pay packet at the end of the month, and this buys us treats. It's helping maybe, you know, it's getting us out of debt. I don't hide that. My friends, my customers know. But I've made such lovely friends through it. I've grown in confidence. I've found like headspace in my time where it's just for me. I'll put a film on in the kitchen and stand and wrap orders and I'm in the zone. So that's my
Norway.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been to Norway.
There's so much to gain from this business, and I think that's really motivating in itself. If you can realise what you can personally gain from it, then why wouldn't you want to invest the time in it?
I hope people feel when they watch this what I'm feeling like. I feel that bubble of excitement there.
I'm literally like, are we nearly done? Because I really need to go and do some bundles.
Yeah, I really.
I don't mean that rudely. I mean that like I'm excited. I'm inspired.
It's been amazing, Sarah. I don't think you realise how fab you are. You really don't. You just you, aren't you?
I do, it is.
More than anything, keep doing it, because honestly, to be on something like this with someone and get that feeling, like I said to Tam, it's really hard to find people that you get that inspiration from, where you literally, if you had a YouTube channel showing all your different bundles,
yes,
I literally would be probably like messaging you saying, when are you going to upload videos? That's what I would be asking, because I'm so
need to do that. You need to do that, because you'll get customers from that. They will watch your YouTube. You will.
They'll join us from YouTube,
and you'll get team members. You need to do that. That's a really good idea.
If you do your whole focus all around bundles, well, I'm there. I'm coming to watch how you wrap cellophane. Definitely there.
YouTube video, Lisa, no problem.
Get it on YouTube. Get it on YouTube.
I love it.
That's been amazing. I feel very conscious that we've whipped in your dinner hour, so I'm gonna start the recording now. But I'm sure.
Thank you.
You'll be getting a lot of questions.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just going to stop the recording.